And then we're going to do if is loading. We're going to go ahead and return a specific view. So inside of here, I'm going to go ahead and return a div with a class name size 10, rounded, full, flex items center, justify center, background neutral 200, border, and border neutral 300. So basically, I am creating a placeholder for what we will have here below the loader. Now let's add loader, which you can import from Lucid React. We have Lucid React installed when we set up ChatCN, so just double check that you have Lucid React installed. Now that you have the loader here, go ahead and give it a class name, size 4, animate spin, and text muted foreground, like this. And then inside of here, let's go ahead and let's actually return our avatar component, which will have an avatar fallback inside. And inside of here, we are very simply going to destructure the name and email from the user, which we have loaded above. And let's just see. So I have the user here and I have name. Property name does not exist, but it's pretty obvious that it does exist here. Is that because I have to, let's see. Okay, not sure why. Let's go and leave it like this for now. Const avatar fallback here will be name, character at 0 to uppercase. Otherwise, we're going to use the email character at 0 to uppercase. If we can't do either of those, we're just going to default to letter U for, user. All right, and I think I know why this is happening. So in case we cannot load the user at all, we're not going to load anything. There we go. Now my linter is fixed. Excellent. Now let's go ahead and let's put the avatar fallback, the inside of the avatar fallback right here. And now we're going to go ahead and style this. So first of all, the avatar itself will have a class name of size 10. On hover, it's going to have an opacity of 75. It's going to have some transition properties, a border, and border neutral 300. The avatar fallback will have a class name of background neutral 200, font medium, text neutral 500, flex item center, and justify center, like this. And now let's go ahead and let's go inside of our page.tsx inside of the app folder. And instead of rendering any of those, let's just render the user button component from features out, components user button, like this. And there we go. Now we have a nice user button here because we are logged in. So make sure that you are logged in while doing this. Let's go back inside of our user button and let's now turn this into a drop-down menu. So I'm going to wrap the entire thing inside of a drop-down menu like this. I'm going to give this a property of model false in case we want to use it inside of some other drop-down menu components. Sometimes this property can cause the body to freeze with an overflow hidden. Now let's go ahead and let's wrap the avatar inside of a drop-down menu trigger component. So the entire avatar like this, and let's give this a class name of outline none and relative. Now let's go ahead and let's add a drop-down menu content with align end, side bottom, class name width of 60, and a side offset of 10. So that's our drop-down menu content. Inside of the drop-down menu content, we're going to create a div with a class name flex column items center, justify center gap to px 2.5 and ty4. Inside of this div right here, we're gonna go ahead and just copy our avatar from here. Let's just copy it and let's put it here, like this. And I think that already we should be able to click here and get our avatar right here. There we go. Let's go ahead and expand this and let's code this further. The only thing I want to change in this avatar inside of the drop-down menu is hover and opacity. So we don't need this here. And we can change this size to be 52 pixels, like that. And we can go ahead and add a text Excel here, like this. Now, let's go ahead and let's go outside of the avatar and let's add a div here with a paragraph, which will either render the name of the user or simply user. Now let's go ahead and let's give this a class name of text small, font medium, and text neutral 900. And let's give this one a class name of flex column, items center, and justify center. Because below this paragraph, we're going to have another one which will render the email. And I misspelled center here. There we go. Now both of them are centered. And let's give a class name of text extra small and text neutral 500. Just like that. Now outside of this div, still inside of the drop-down menu content, we're going to have a dotted separator here. And we're going to give it a class name of margin bottom of 1. I will just zoom out briefly so we can see this better. I will then add a drop-down menu item here. And I will very simply add a log out from Lucid React. So make sure you've added this. And I'm going to give it a class name of size 4 and MR of 2. It's going to be a self-closing tab and add a logout method here as well. Now let's style the drop-down menu item to have a class name height of 10, flex, items center, justify center, text amber 700, font medium, and cursor pointer. Like this. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add mutate logout, use logout, which we've added an import for right here. And now let's use this logout method here as well. So I'm going to collapse this drop-down menu class name here. And I'm going to add on click here to call the logout method. Like this. There we go. We've created a very nice and reusable user button, and we don't need the avatar image here. There we go. Now we have the functionality to log out from here. So I can now log out and I should be redirected back. So I can log in again. And the problem is still here that we don't get redirected to the dashboard page once I log in, right? So let's go ahead and fix those things now. And here's the thing. So I told you that I really don't like the solution where I have to use effect to redirect the user. So I really don't like this. So let's start by kind of removing stuff here. First of all, we are no longer using use logout here. Let's remove that. The second thing we're going to remove is, well, everything. We don't need any of this inside. Let's remove this, let's remove this and this and this, and let's remove use client. So make sure that inside of your user button, you have use client. Otherwise, you're going to get some errors here. And now let's go ahead and rethink how we can work with this. So by default, every page and component inside of an app folder is considered a server component. This gives us an advantage because technically, what we can do now is we can create a special util we can call only in server components, which can be served as authorization checks. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So instead of calling hook, which will get the current user, we could, for example, check for a cookie and redirect the user if they don't have a cookie. But that's not the safest thing to do. Let's actually do this. let's go ahead and visit our session middleware here. So our session middleware has this client, it has the session where it gets the cookie, and basically this session middleware is optimized for Hono, right? It uses getCookie from Hono cookie. So we're going to do a similar thing, but we are not going to treat it like an API endpoint. Let's go ahead and see what I mean. So we're going to go inside of features, inside of auth, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new file called actions.ts. Inside of here, I'm going to mark this as use server, and I'm going to export const get current. This is going to be an asynchronous method. And inside of here, I'm going to go ahead and do the following. I'm going to set up my client again, like this, from node app write. And then I'm going to go ahead and get the session, not using Hono cookies, but by using cookies from next headers, like this. Now, depending on which version of next you are using, because in next 15, you're going to have to await cookies. So I can write await cookies, and I have a little note here. Await has no effect on this type of expression. But if you're using Next.js 15, I'm pretty sure that you're going to have to await the cookies to get them to work. So just hover over cookies and see what you get. If you get a promise around here, you most likely have to await cookies. But I think that I can await them as well, so you can just write it like this. This will have no effect if you're using next version that I am, but in case you're using a newer version, you have to await a lot of stuff which you usually didn't have to await in next 14. So let's go ahead and get our out cookie here, like this. And then we're going to go ahead and do if there is no session, we're going to go ahead and return null. And then let's go ahead and let's define our account right here. And we have to import account from node app write. So account and client from node app write. And then we're finally going to do account await account.get, just like this. And if you want to, you can also wrap the entire thing inside of try and catch, and simply return null in case any error happens. All right, and now let's go ahead and let's do the following. Let's go inside of our page.tsx in the home page right here. Make sure there is no use client at the top. And we're going to now turn this into an asynchronous method. Keep in mind that you can only do this in server components. If you were to mark this as a client component, you will most likely get an error. There we go. I briefly got an error here. I don't know why it's not appearing right now. But you cannot use asynchronous and use client at the same time. So just make sure you remove that. So now that you have asynchronous here, what you can do is you can get the current user, or you can just mark it as user, and you can now call the getCurrent method from features auth actions. And if there is no user, you can redirect using the next navigation, which can be used in server components, and simply redirect the user to /sign in, just like this. So now I'm going to go ahead and log out, and I'm going to refresh, and let's see what happens. So it looks like I'm still getting a user. Let's see if that is true. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll all the way down and debug what's going on. So I have getCurrent right here. So I'm going to go ahead and see inside of my page.tsx what happens with my user here. Perhaps I'm still getting something, but I should not be getting that. Looks like I still have something here. And I think that's because I didn't await getCurrent. My apologies. Let's try this now. There we go. I immediately get redirected. Yes. So we have to await redirect here. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and try this again. If I go back to localhost 3000, I am immediately returned here. There we go. So that's how we handled that. If you want to, you can rename this to protect, for example. And then inside of here, you can do redirect to something if you want to. depending on, but if you're using redirects, keep in mind you cannot use them inside of try and catch. That's one caveat with using a redirect from Next.js. So I'm going to be explicit in my, oops, I think I modified something. So yeah, get current. So I'm going to be explicit in my tutorial here. I'm just going to call the user and then I will manually redirect here. It's 2 lines, not too much code if you ask me. And now let's do the same thing inside of our sign in and sign up pages here. So I'm going to remove use client actually here, which means that I have to go inside of the sign in card and mark the sign in card as use client instead. There we go. Now I no longer have the error here. I'm going to mark this as an asynchronous function, and I'm going to get the user using get current from features out actions. If I have the user this time, my apologies, await, don't forget to await. If I have the user, I'm going to redirect using next navigation to the root page, which will be the dashboard. Just like that. There we go. And now I'm going to copy this and I'm going to go inside of my sign up page right here. I'm going to remove use client here. I will go inside of sign up card and I will mark sign up card as use client as well. So first of all, confirm that that is fixed. Go inside of sign up. There we go. No errors on the sign up page. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here. I will mark this as an asynchronous function and I will get current from features out actions and redirect, redirect from next navigation like this. There we go. And let's briefly go inside of sign up card here and let me just change the button which I have here, which says login, to register. There we go. Let's go ahead and try this out now. I'm going to go and sign in now, and I will do antoniomail.com, Antonio 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's log in. And looks like I am still not getting redirected. If I refresh, still, okay. Let's see what I did wrong. Maybe I entered a wrong password. So we also have to handle those states as well. But I first want to debug whether I did something wrong or not. So this is my sign in page. If I have the user, I will redirect to the root page. So I will console log the user here. And let's see, do I have the user or not? I will refresh this page. I will scroll down. Looks like user is a null. So perhaps I have entered a wrong password. Let me try one more time here. Nope, looks like it's still not working. I will go ahead and try this. So my login seems to be success true. And inside of my application here, I seem to be having a cookie, but it looks like I'm just not getting redirected. So I'm just going to go ahead and pause and debug this and tell you how to fix it and how I debugged it. Well, I think I know what is the issue. So let's go back inside of our features out actions here. And we've wrote this incorrectly because if you take a look inside of the session middleware here, we forgot to add client set session, right? We don't do that here at all. We immediately get the account here. So let's do session set, which one is it? A client set session. And pass in the session.value here, like this. And there we go. Now I am immediately redirected. Let's go ahead and try this again. So if I go to /sign in, I am immediately redirected back. Same thing for /sign up. But if I log out from here, let's see if this works. Okay, so this works after refresh. So let's see, how can we improve that from happening? Well, here's a solution that I like to do here because I did this in my original source code. We're gonna go inside of my use logout method.